this I know for sure. But does she really want it? Can stand to see me walking out that door. Don't try to fight the feeling, cause the thought alone is killing me right now. Thank God for mom and dad for sticking two together, cause they don't know how. It's always better when there's feelings involved. And what they say is nothing is forever. Then what makes love the exception? So why are we so in denial when you know we're not happy here? Oh, you don't want to end me, you just want to dance.
Good evening and welcome to Not the Show. I'm Joe.
And I'm Mondo.
Hey Mondo, how are you?
Dude, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Yeah, hanging in there. That was Hey Ya by the Super Suckers.
Yeah. That was their cover of them other people did the Super Suckers. Outcast.
Yeah.
I like the Super Suckers version better.
Me too.
Nothing against Outcast. As far as the hip hop goes, I like the Outcast, but yeah, I like the Super Suckers better.
I do too. So what's up? How was your week?
My week was my week was boring. I had nothing going on all week.
Okay.
Looking for work. That's it.
All right. I think mine was
how's
boring
your
too.
week?
I think mine was boring too.
Nice.
Jen had Wednesday off. There was like a Jewish holiday or something.
Yeah, Yom Kippur.
Yeah. I don't remember if we did anything this week at all. That's crazy.
We don't get those holidays off. I wouldn't even know that there were Jewish holidays if it wasn't for the Facebook and all my Jewish friends like back in New York City. So, like, there's no Yom Kippur down here. Like,
No.
the schools don't get off for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. Because there's probably like one or two Jewish kids, like, period. Like, in the state. So, yeah, it's like, I used to know all the Jewish holidays living in New York City.
Yeah. I guess that happens when you live here.
When's Purim?
I don't know.
That's a good one.
It is.
It's like the Jewish Halloween, sorta.
Yeah, I don't quite get that. Why don't they just
Like
have Halloween like everybody else?
No, not like everybody else. But I mean, it's the same. They go around and they get food,
Yeah.
and they're dressed up. But instead of just celebrating, like, not egging people's houses, they're celebrating like the death of some king because he was a dick. Go Jews!
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Some Twitter account, I think it was IKEA Brooklyn. We have an IKEA in Brooklyn now.
Right.
They tweeted out during one of those, either Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah, during one of the high holy days. They said, all of our because IKEA has a whole restaurant, right? They serve all kinds of food in their restaurants. And the thing was, come in and order an entree. All of our entrees are $1 extra this week if you bring a Gentile and sit and watch them eat. That was a little fucked up.
Yeah, wait, $1 extra?
Yeah, because they can't eat food. One of those holidays they couldn't eat, right? So it's kind of fast. It was pretty fucked up, especially since it came from a corporate, national, international even company.
I guess maybe they don't like the Jews.
I don't know. It made me laugh a little though.
Weird.
Yeah.
We just want to go on the record as saying that we like the Jews.
We do. And just because Jen's German and hates the Jews doesn't mean that we don't like the Jews.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh.
We had our open house last weekend, so we were in full selling the house mode.
Yeah, I saw. Now I saw something about you get to sit back and like see what happens or something.
We had
well.
Yeah, yesterday we had someone come in to see the house a second time.
Okay.
And they brought the couple with they brought their kid this time. It was little and it doesn't really matter, but they also brought the parents, the grandpa and the grandma.
Oh.
So that's always a good sign when they like the house enough to bring someone else in to give them an opinion.
Right.
So we're hopeful. We'd like to sell it as quick as we can.
Right.
Because we have things moving quickly on the other end.
So the sooner the better.
Yep. We'll probably have to move to an apartment between and to wait, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because you know what happens? Like, the mortgage companies these days are reluctant to take any risks, and when they agree to give me a mortgage and I don't have any money in the bank...
Right.
It used to be they'd be like, okay, you're selling your house, so we know that once you sell your house, you'll have money in the bank, and it was a good market. We know you'll sell your house. We know you'll take the money and put it towards your new down payment, and that would be part of the deal. It would be a contingent on the sale of my old house. We have a deal with the new house.
Right.
But they don't give contingencies anymore.
Because now it's an if.
Right.
Because it could be years in
could.
this market before you sell your house.
Right. So they don't want to give contingencies. So that means that I either have to be able to afford both mortgages according to my credit report and my debt-to-income ratio and all that horse shit. If I could afford to pay both bills at the same time, they would approve me for a mortgage.
Right.
And I'd have to have money in the bank for them to see that I have something to put down. Or I have to sell first and time it such that the money I get from the sale is available as soon as we're ready for closing. So the easiest way to deal with that... So financially, the easiest way to deal with all of that is to sell, put the money in the bank, live somewhere until we close on the new house. Because then we'll have the down payment ready. We'll have our, the credit report will be set. We'll be all set. We won't have any. The old mortgage will be gone, so that debt will be off our credit report. So that's the financial easiest way for that to go down.
Gotcha.
It's decidedly inconvenient to have to move twice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
well, I mean,
moving companies will store our stuff, right? If I hire movers,
yeah.
they'll take the majority of the stuff and hold it somewhere. Either I don't know if they leave it in the truck until I don't know how that works, but they'll hold on to it until we'll just take a U-Haul for our stuff that we need for clothes and such.
Right.
And my computer and my microphone.
Right, because I mean, you don't need much, like, temporarily.
No.
I mean, we don't need, as people, we don't need much, period.
Right.
I mean, most of the stuff we have is stuff we just like.
Right, so I would need a TV and a computer and a sofa and a couple beds and our clothes.
Right.
That's basically it. I mean, the real inconvenience is I'd have to set up cable for 3 months or whatever amount of months we'll be in this place, right? And we don't have a phone, so that's not a big issue. But I have to change my mailing address to the new place and then change it again, and it just complicates things a little.
Right.
But on the financial side, like I said, it makes things much simpler. So that's what we're going for. We're going for sell first.
Sell!
Yeah. So we're hopeful. These people, they like the house a lot, we think.
Cool.
And we're kind of counting on them to come through.
Well, I hope they do.
Thank you. We went apple picking today.
Nice.
Yeah, there were apples everywhere. Did you know there was a shortage of apples this year?
No, I didn't.
Some bad storms up on the coast here during the winter caused the apple crops to be lousy this year. Couldn't tell. There were a lot of apples.
I was about to say, like, maybe a shortage of good quality apples, but
yeah.
I know that every time we had shitty weather when I was living up in apple country, they would just complain about the quality of the apples. It's like, well, all the apples suck.
Yeah.
They're all mushy and they're not red and shiny, and so it's a bad apple crop. Although, plenty of applesauce, but just not a lot of like crisp apples.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine. We picked some pumpkins too. And that's fun.
Ooh, I got to get a pumpkin.
Yeah, it's that time.
Yeah, it's almost Halloween.
Freaking October. Jojo either wants to be Batman or Jake and the Neverland Pirate.
Nice.
Do you know Jake and the Neverland Pirates?
No.
It's a Disney... It's like... Peter Pan shows up once in a while, but it's really the Lost Boys. They have their own little pirate ship that is sort of alive. And they're always going up against Smee and Captain Hook. But it's really only Smee and Captain Hook. It's just the two of them. And they have their own ship, too. And the lessons always end up being, Captain Hook's not really that bad of a guy. Let him play baseball with us. Who cares if he tried to steal the bat, steal the ball, steal the treasure? But, the moral of the story is he's just misunderstood. He gets to play baseball with us now.
All right, well, I guess for JoJo's age, it's age-appropriate lessons.
It is.
I got to call bullshit on that. Captain Hook is a murdering pirate bastard.
An asshole.
He's a kidnapper.
He is.
Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
I don't know.
Ahoy, mateys! I'm Jake, and here's my crew. Izzy!
Ahoy, Jake!
Cubby! Ahoy, Jake! Do you want to join my pirate crew, too? Then everybody say the pirate password.
Pirate password.
Yo-ho-ho! Awesome! Let's go!
It's pretty cute, actually. Here comes the theme
Sounds
song.
cute.
And at the end of every episode, there's these two guys dressed as pirates with guitars and drums, and they play this song and they sing. It's just a creepy looking two creeps that sing.
That sounds awesome.
That sing the pirate song at the end. Yeah, that's Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
That's awesome.
So he either wants to be a pirate or the Dark Knight.
See, I like the Dark Knight. But,
Me too. I like that better.
Just, that's just the inner geek in me talking.
Yeah.
What about, he probably doesn't watch Adventure Time.
No.
That's another Jake show.
He watches...
I would actually, if Angela wanted to dress up as Finn the Human from Adventure Time, I would consider dressing up like Jake the Dog.
Okay.
For Halloween, even though I won't be going trick-or-treating.
Remember when we used to go trick-or-treating as adults?
Yep.
That's funny stuff.
I saw greatest... Ange watches a lot of Cartoon Network shows, and some of them are, like, really good. Mm-hmm. Like, even I have to sit down and... Like, Adventure Time. I love Adventure Time. It's not even like where I'm just like, well, I like cute cartoons. I mean, this cartoon is just awesome. There's this other one called The Regular Show. Okay. And it's really not regular. But there's this bird, Mordecai. I don't know. They work in a park. He's got these great... And, but for Halloween, Mordecai dressed up as, like, an adult. Like a parent. And he had like 3 or 5 like balloons dressed as ghosts holding out trick-or-treat bags like little kids.
Okay.
And that was his costume, and he got like 5 times the treats because people just thought he was walking his kids around. I was like, that is brilliant. We have to do that.
That's pretty funny.
That's the best way to go trick-or-treating as an adult. Make it look like you've got kids, even if you don't.
I like it.
So maybe I'll work on that.
So yeah, Halloween doesn't thrill me these days. I mean, I have a kid, so it's fun for him.
Right.
But I've never been so into it. I'm always like, maybe I'm just a grump.
Maybe. I don't know. Do you get invited to Halloween parties? I used to love going to Halloween parties.
Yeah, I get invited, and I refuse to wear a costume, so I'm always the grumpy, refuse to wear a costume guy. Or I just put on a trench coat and pretend I'm...
The Silent Bob.
Yeah, how many years can I get away with that bullshit?
As many as you need to.
I guess so.
It's better than the grump costume.
Yeah. These, people are like, who's Silent Bob again? Kids don't know anymore. My friends will know, I guess.
I suppose it's time for me to start like showing off my Silent Bob action figure again.
He's on my bookshelf back there.
Because people used to think it was me. They'd be like, "Oh shit, you have like your own like action figure or something." My friend Amanda, who you remember Amanda?
Yeah.
The weird. Yeah. She was extremely gullible, and she was just like, "Holy shit, did you guys?" She was telling someone else like at work. She was like, "You guys see, Amanda's got like an action figure of himself. Like, what's up with that?" And so I convinced her that they were going to make a cartoon based on my life. And this was like, a mock-up of like, and she was just like, that is awesome. And everyone's telling her, they're like, man, Mondo does this to you all the fucking time. Why do you always believe him? And she's like, no, it's true. I believe it. I told her I was going into space, and she believed that.
That's funny.
I was just sitting there looking kind of like dejected or something. I don't know why. I was just maybe thinking or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she came up to me and she was just like, "What's the matter, man?" And I don't even know why I did it, just to be an asshole because it was Amanda, maybe. I mean, I love her, but she's just so gullible. And I was like, well, I just got the call from NASA. It's like 5 years ago. I signed up to be like the first civilian in space. And it's like they accepted my application now, but it's like, I mean, she'd only known me for like a year or two. And I was just like, I've put on so much weight. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And she's like, we'll help you. And she was all gung-ho. And everyone's like, Amanda, why are you listening to him? And I'm just like, man, I'm so worried. And she's like, we'll help you lose the weight and get into shape. Amanda's going to space. Woo!
That's great.
She's crazy.
Yeah, that's funny, though.
But yeah, so she thought that was a... So I can start showing that around again and convincing people that that's an action figure of me.
Nice.
And you could do the same.
Yeah.
We could be each other's stunt doubles.
Awesome. I just saw Kevin Smith on something recently. Oh, you know, he was on that Sci-Fi Channel show about the makeup artists.
Right.
You ever see the reality show where they face off? Reality show where they bring in all these amateur makeup artists and they do movie makeup.
Yeah.
And he was a guest judge. He was just like, "Oh, this is all awesome." He's like, "I'm judging a movie art contest." He's like, "You're all great." And I was like, "You're gonna have to pick somebody, asshole." He's like, "I love this." He did, of course.
I don't care for it.
No.
It's nifty, and all these people are crazy talented.
Mm-hmm.
But like nothing they do is like something that I think I would want to see in a movie. Because it's all too flashy, and I know that's kind of the point because they're in this competition and they gotta have some flash to it.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. I'd rather see something a little more
subtle
and realistic. Like even if it's going to be like some crazy fantasy or sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
Like I just don't want it to be like flashy.
I didn't watch that other one. There's another one where they're doing They're actually doing the whole sets.
Right, hot set.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Me either.
It's been TV's back, so it's been too busy to watch anything new.
Fuck yeah, my Monday night is insane.
All my shows are back. Monday's Warehouse and Alphas, right?
Monday?
Monday's Warehouse and Alphas?
Monday is Warehouse, Alphas, Castle.
Yeah.
Revolution.
Yeah.
Is that new Elementary show on Monday?
I think so. I think it's on up against Castle at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and it's like... There's a couple others I think I'm watching Mondays. Monday is now like... It takes me... I mean, I finally watched Elementary, like, I think Thursday.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck?
Did you like it?
I did!
Me too.
A lot.
Me too. I thought it was good.
And, you know, I think it's like a... While I can still say, all right, it's definitely a ripoff of the BBC's Sherlock, because they really couldn't get permission to directly copy it.
Right.
You know, it's very different.
Like Being Human does, in other words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Like Being Human, it's like licensed to take our ideas.
Right.
You know, and of course, in Sherlock Holmes is like public domain. It's like, you know, if you and me wanted to go do a Sherlock Holmes modern show now, we could.
Sure.
People would mock us, and we have no money to back this, but, you know, we could. They made this different enough and likable enough that I really think that I'm going to enjoy the show a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I liked the guy that Eli Stone. He was Eli Stone in the Eli Stone. Remember that show?
Yep.
Yeah, I like him. And Lucy Liu did well for the Watson character.
Absolutely. I like the cop guy.
Mm-hmm. Me too. He's a good actor. I've seen him in a million other things. I liked it. And, you know, they always have to have that one cop that doesn't believe in him. Whoever that was, the second-in-command guy.
Right.
Who's always like, what's this fucking guy doing here? There's always one of those guys in a Sherlock Holmes story, right?
Exactly. And, you know, eventually...
They're vindicated at some point in the future, and then he has to come back and fix it in the end.
Right. Oh, man. You know, the one thing I do like about the show a lot is the fact that as long as it doesn't get canceled, there'll be a lot more of it. I mean, one of my big problems with Sherlock, BBC Sherlock, is it's like 3 movie-length episodes.
Yeah.
And then that's it for like a year.
Yeah.
And now they're both really huge. I mean, Martin Freeman was getting to be big anyway.
He was.
Not huge, but big. But now he's going to be huge because he's the Hobbit.
Yep.
And but Benedict Cumberbatch.
He's possibly playing Khan in the new Star Trek, although they're not saying whether or not he's actually playing Khan or not. He's just the villain.
They did say he was Gary Mitchell, but they think that Carl Urban said that just to be a dick.
Okay.
So it's like we still
knows?
don't know who the hell he's going to be. But
Right.
right, he's going to be huge too. So they're saying that Series 3, because they call them series in the BBC.
Right.
Series 3 is probably going to be the last Sherlock, or
Wow.
at least the last like 3-episode story arc
Right.
Sherlock. So I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll do like other specials or movies down the line. But so that makes me sad. So and I really like the concept. So I'm really glad. I hope Sherlock doesn't get canceled, or Elementary
Yeah.
doesn't get canceled, because potentially 22 to 24 episodes a year of something pretty cool. Hope it doesn't get old.
Yeah, me too. I like it a lot. Do you think if speaking of like being human, the way that it's licensed, you think if Doctor Who was available for licensing, if some American TV company would make their own Doctor Who?
Oh man, I hope not.
I mean, that's probably why he doesn't do it. That's why none of those shows have ever, in 60 years the show's been on, it's never been, remade by anyone other than them.
Right.
Because they own it, obviously, and they don't want that to happen.
They did do those Peter Cushing movies.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember reading. I never saw them, but I do remember reading something.
But yeah, I mean, like, Doctor Who fans, like, hate them.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think there's probably a bunch that like them, but just don't want to be seen liking them. I still, like I said, I haven't seen them. Maybe I would like them, but I guarantee you, if I was in a room of Doctor Who fans, I probably wouldn't defend them. I'd keep my mouth shut.
Right.
But yeah, I think any other Doctor Who would just be terrible at this point.
I agree.
If it was good, it would just be like, but why are you? It's like there's too much history. Why are you doing it?
Especially now that we're getting them, premiere night, same as they get them in the BBC, and we have our own version of the BBC on just about every cable. So it's really completely unnecessary now. I mean, maybe it was more necessary past years when it was tougher to find, or you had to wait longer, but not anymore.
Well, yeah, yeah, that would have been a good idea back in the 70s when like you could only see like old episodes on PBS.
Mm-hmm.
Like that might have been a good idea. But yeah, exactly. It's like he's accessible.
Yeah.
There's no reason to. Which is still, I mean, while that sci-fi being human did grow on me, I mean, I still feel the same way. It's like, well, why did we really need to do that? The British show is absolutely fine, and we can understand the language. There's no reason to reimagine it.
Right.
But, I mean, the show did grow on me, and they finally, after that first season where I was just like, they already did that, and the second season really branched off. So I can cope with it.
I only saw like half of last season.
Really?
I had them all. I had 5 episodes, I think, left on my DVR, and then my DVR broke, and I replaced it. So anything I had saved that I never watched never got watched. I'm sure I could find it. Yeah, I'm sure I can get it on the Netflix.
Yeah, it'll probably. I mean, the rest of the season may show up on the Netflix probably right before the next season starts. It seems to be what they've been doing lately. Is like right before the new season starts.
Mm-hmm.
I get an email from Netflix saying like, oh, we now have season 8 of like Supernatural for you to watch.
Right. So while we're talking about Doctor Who, let's talk about Doctor Who. Last night was the winter season finale, the half season finale.
Yeah, the Angels Take Manhattan.
Right. I mean, do we want to be careful about spoilers because it's too close to being on, or do we care?
I don't know, man.
I don't know if I care.
Spoiler alert right here too.
Yeah.
This is like big spoiler alert. People.
Big time spoilers here.
Because there's no way I'm not going to be able to talk about the show without spoiling stuff.
The episode was good, but the whole point of the episode was that the Ponds are leaving the show.
Right. Which, I mean, unless you've thrown yourself into a cave, is definitely not spoiler material.
No. It's been in the promos. They've been talking about it. Yeah. And they kept showing the doctor carrying Amy, and that scene was never in the episode, of course. I don't know where they took that from, but it was from an older...
the first episode, the
right.
Daleks, Asylum of the Daleks.
Right.
And I kept waiting to see it again. Like, I was like, maybe this is like foreshadowing. Because, yeah, they kept pushing that image.
They did.
See this again. We're going to see this again.
So before we talk about the way that they wrote them out, what do you think of the episode in general?
All right, I really like the episode because I really love the Weeping Angels. Even though occasionally, like, you know, in the big one with the Byzantium, kind of not as creepy as they were in Blink. Blink is probably one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever of
Yeah.
all time.
I agree. That was definitely like, and they were definitely creepier. They were good and creepy this episode. Statue of Liberty thing was a little over the top, but
Sea Weeping Angels were awesome.
yeah,
That was fun because they
was.
were giggling in the dark, which made it creepier.
It did. It was good. It was definitely a good episode. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got some big plot hole issues, but I mean, like, I can. So I see the episode in like two ways. It's like I really love the episode and I really love the way things ended up. You know, there's at the same time there's that part of me that is like, well, I can fix this. Like if I was the Doctor, I'd be able to fix this in like a second.
Yeah.
Because you know, I can do that with the Doctor's abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole because they know it was coming is fixed in time thing. Have they done that before? Has that been an issue with him before?
Yeah, the fixed points in time, those have been issues, especially in this series. In this, when I say series, I mean it in the U.S. meaning of like since Christopher Eccleston on.
Right.
There was the first time we really saw something along those lines was when Rose saved her dad.
Right. Right.
I mean, that was a fixed point in time, but Rose saved her dad, and there was that whole paradox, and there were those weird bat creature thingies that were like going to eat everybody, and and the Doctor said like if his people were still around, they could fix it, but they're not, so they couldn't.
Right.
And we've seen other stuff throughout the rest of the series. Most recently, the Doctor's death, that being a fixed point in time.
Yeah.
And he cheated because there's no way to say that he, that it was actually him just because people saw him die.
Yeah.
And I feel that they could have done the same thing here. I mean, we haven't really gotten into like what happened, but
yeah, we can get into that part now. Like, so the Angels set up like a Matrix battery station to suck time energy.
right, because what they do, their main mode of like feeding. I mean, we didn't see that in the big Byzantium episode because it was different.
Yeah.
But their main thing is like they hit you, they touch you, they send you back in time, and they feed off of your potential time energy. They've stolen it from you.
Right.
And they let you live until you die. That's how they kill you, by letting you live until you die. It's just so if they touch you now, they're going to send you back 40 years, and you're going to die now, but you still get that 40 years, and somehow they eat that energy.
Right. So, in most circumstances, those people still live for 40 years someplace.
Right, absolutely.
Right, but in this situation, they set up like a trap where they have to live that 40 years in that house.
In that house.
In that house. In that building.
Right. So it's like somehow they get drawn to that building, and they go in and they see themselves, and like they're just like, oh, I'm you, and I'm about to die, and they die.
Right.
The Angels get them there.
Right.
And zap them back, and I guess it just keeps happening. So it's like a perpetual loop somehow.
Right.
And I guess they got to be feeding you.
I guess, or maybe they go back 40 years, but they're not stuck in that building. Well, they don't really need them to stay in that building. They just need them to show up there again. But wait.
I get the impression that they're stuck there.
Yeah, because otherwise, what does it do? Otherwise, they send you back 40 years, and what? You're in another timeline. You're not the same person that's been traveling with the Doctor for the past 10 years or whatever it was, past few years. It's interesting and a little confusing, all the timey-wimey stuff.
It is, but so that's what happens to Rory.
Right.
Rory gets zapped into the past.
Right.
So of course they have to go save him.
Right, but now, for some reason, there's this book.
Right.
And the book tells this whole story, and because of the book, if they read ahead of the spot where they're at, they're reading about the future, and that stuff is then permanent.
It becomes a fixed point in time.
Right. So Doctor couldn't time travel into the building and take Rory right before the angel touched him and bring him back out because they read about it in the book that it happened, and they can't undo that stuff.
Which I don't think should be the case.
No, it doesn't hold water for you there.
No, the book is a work of fiction. Whether or not it was written for the Doctor, I mean, what if River said, like, you know, because River's Song, it turns out, wrote the book.
Yeah.
Big spoiler there. To help guide the Doctor, and also like to fuck her parents over in a way.
I suppose so.
She didn't write the fucking book. She's contacted him for help in a million other ways that did not create fixed points in time.
Yeah.
She created the oldest written language in the universe on that cliff wall to get his attention.
Yeah.
But no, now she's gonna fuck everybody. So I don't know. So I had issues with that. Again, not saying I didn't love the episode, but issues with that.
No, I agree. It was a little confusing in there and a little too much going on.
Yeah, I mean, what if she just decided just to be a jerk? Like the Doctor decides to, like, you know, do a little dance and, like, you know, waggle his dick around. Would he have had to do that because River wrote it? Oh, it's a fixed point in time. Now I have to wiggle my dick around and do a little dance for you, Amy.
Yeah.
No, he would have been like, River's a fucking douche.
And that thus would have created paradox. That's the problem there, right? And so that's how Rory get out of it the first time. Is he didn't do what it said in the book. They jumped off the building,
Right.
creating a paradox, destroying the building, and pushing them all back in time to a point where maybe it didn't even push them back in time. It just pushed them.
Well, no, it pushed them back to the future to 2012.
Right. Okay.
In that cemetery.
Right.
And
then it just happened again.
Right, like an angel, like to get revenge or something, like zapped Rory. Like it was a survivor of the fallout of the, you know, the paradox, and it zapped Rory. Back to 1938, which, by the way, the TARDIS can now not go to because of
that paradox.
Right, and all of the, you know, all of the time energy that was bouncing around from what the angels were up to there. So the whole thing is like now they can't go back to 1938 to ever save Rory.
Right.
You know, they barely made it the first time, and if they go again, it will destroy the Earth.
Right, destroy New York. They said destroy the Earth. Okay, so you know, Amy being sad, she, you know, let herself be taken too to go back and hang out with Rory in that building.
Right.
So now we're supposed to think we'll never see them again, right? Their tombstone. There was a tombstone.
Right. Well, I don't think they have to go to that building. I think they're just going to be like regular people in New York in the 30s.
They don't have to be in the building though, because the building was destroyed in the 30s.
The building is done.
So they're living there. So he can't go back to that entire timeline, not just 1938. Can he wait 5 years? Can he go 5 years ahead and find them?
Why not? Is my point. Sure. 1939, 1942. Why not?
Find them, bring them back.
Why? Because he saw a tombstone that said they were dead? You know, he knew that Charles Dickens was dead.
Yeah.
He's hung out with him.
And Van Gogh.
Everybody who he fucking visits in the past, he knows is dead. So why can't he go... Like, even if he can't bring them back, even if he can't, like, you know, let's say because of all the paradox shit that they were doing, like, let's say they're no longer able to travel through time.
Okay.
Why can't he just drop in 1942 and have supper?
Chill out a bit.
Yeah, just visit for Christmas. So he can't take them in the TARDIS anymore. So they can't travel through time. Apparently River can go back.
Yeah, she's got a whole different kind of gadget.
Exactly, which apparently like somehow outclasses the TARDIS when it comes to this. I mean, in all other ways it doesn't, but apparently like paradox and like little time bouncy, timey-wimey things, time vortex has cuts through it.
Right, she's got a Captain Jack watch band that travels her through time. Huh. So maybe, you know, they're not in the show, and we're supposed to all feel sad, and I had a little tear, but maybe we'll see them again.
I don't think we will.
You don't think so, huh? You think that the story, the producers are not recognizing these holes that we've discovered, and we're not going to see them ever.
Yep, just because.
All right. I mean, even
such a huge deal out of like Rory and Amy going goodbye is going to be like sad. It's going to be like one of the worst things that ever happened to the Doctor. It's terrible, and you know, and they're going to be gone forever. And I think that they'll feel that they were being cheap if they just happened to bring them back. I mean, because the whole thing with Rose Tyler wasn't that it was impossible. It was just that it would be damn difficult.
right, she ended up on an alternate Earth somewhere.
Right.
And
And all the holes were closing, but somehow she found a way to open a hole.
right.
They never said we'll never see Rose Tyler again. They were just like, you know, oh, Rose is going bye-bye.
She came back a couple times actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Even though we thought we'd never see her again.
Dude, you don't have Showtime, do you?
I do have Showtime.
Have you seen Rose Tyler in her new TV show?
No.
She's in a Showtime show where she plays a prostitute.
Oh, yeah. Confessions of a Call Girl. Or
Yeah,
something.
Confessions of a Call Girl.
I laughed about that a couple weeks ago. I saw your tweet.
Yeah. I was like, wow, how did I miss this show? She's kind of pretty.
I have not seen it.
It was a good, you know. Seeing her naked is you know the cherry on top of a pretty decent acting and storyline.
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Yeah, you check one out. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about everything else.
Okay.
I just want a lover like any other. What do I get? I only want a friend who stayed to the end. What do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? I'm in distress, I need a caress. What do I get? I'm on the make, I just need a break. What do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? I only get sleepless nights alone here in my hospital. The interest in the town I tried. I wish that only happened to me instead. What do I get? Oh, what do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? I only get sleepless nights alone in my hospital. The interest in the town I ride. I wish it only happened to me instead. What do I get? Oh, what do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? I just wanna love like any other. What do I get? I only want a friend who love to the end. What do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? What do I get? Oh, what do I get? Well, let me tell you now. What do I get? What do I get? What do I get? No love. What do I get? No sleep at night. What do I get? Nothing that's nice. What do I get? Nothing at all, at all, at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. 'Cause I don't get you.
Here is some money. Take him to the movies or something.
And we're back.
We are back.
Yeah. One last thing about Doctor Who. We talked about last week that Matt Smith was tweeting to Peter Jackson that he wanted him to come and direct an episode or direct an episode of Doctor Who in New Zealand, and Peter Jackson said, "I'll do it." And so now it looks like the producers of Doctor Who are going to talk to him about it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, the BBC and the Doctor Who bosses are ready to make that all work out.
There's going to be an awful lot of walking.
Yeah, so it's good. They said that it's beyond wonderful that Peter is a fan of the show, and it's beyond flattering that he'd even think about it. I'm absolutely sure that we couldn't afford him, but we can always negotiate. His enthusiasm is fantastic. With Matt Smith, I'm with Matt Smith, and we'd love to bring Doctor Who down under. It won't be possible until at least a year after the 50th anniversary. We're already 2/3 of the way through the shoots of Series 7, and although we filmed a couple of episodes abroad, I can confirm the rest of the Series 7 we was shooting entirely in Cardiff. And that's cool. Yeah. Very interesting. So that's it for that was our Doctor Who news of the week. We'll save Fringe for the end, because we'll talk a bit about Fringe later on.
Sure.
Let's throw out some...
one more Peter Jackson thing, though. The thing that, I always get irritated when I hear people talk about whether or not they can afford somebody.
Yeah. If he wants to do it, he'll take less money.
Fucking A, he will. He'll do it for, minimum, or do it for $1.
Right, whatever they call it, whatever the unions call it, scale or whatever.
Right. I mean, now, if they wanted Christopher Nolan to direct an episode of Doctor Who, and he hasn't expressed any sort of interest or even says he likes the show, well, then, yeah, you're going to need some money to entice him to do it.
Yeah.
But if I was Peter Jackson, I'd be like, fuck, man, I'll do it for nothing. I fucking love Doctor Who.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the same thing when I read it.
Okay, that's all I had to say about that.
I felt like I said, when I read that, I was like, he said he wants to do it, so he'd take whatever they're willing to pay him.
Fucking A. I would direct Doctor Who for nothing. Me, myself. I mean, it wouldn't be a very good episode. I have no experience directing a television show, but I'd have fun doing it, and I'd do it for nothing.
Good.
They'd get their money's worth.
So let's jump into some news. I'll kind of jump all around here. We have nothing specific, movies or TV stuff. We're going to just hit it all. Anne Rice has asked on Facebook if fans would like Lestat to come back, and can they post why in one sentence. So there's more than 8,000 comments telling her why she should bring him back. And so I'm not sure what's going to happen. She replied to all those posts, what one thing do you not like about Lestat? So maybe she's thinking about bringing him back and changing his personality to suit the audience a little, or I don't know.
Maybe she's going to reboot him.
Maybe. Lestat reboot.
Basically what she did was she said, would you people give me more money?
Ha.
And everybody said yes.
They said, absolutely, as long as you stop writing about religious nut job stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's like, how would you feel about a new Lestat book? Are you tired?
I'm not. It's been a long time, and I haven't reread them. Maybe I should reread them one of these days. I mean, the first three were definitely the best. The Tale of the Body Thief was okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, it went on from there, right? He showed up in like
everything. She wrote like a book about like every single one of them.
Yeah.
Every one of the big ones.
Yeah.
My favorite one, although I felt it was like the weakest Vampire Chronicles book, was Memnoch the Devil. Had the best story.
Yeah.
But was probably the weakest. I would have liked that to not have been a Lestat novel. I would have liked him out of there.
I hardly even remember these days. This has been so long.
Yeah, I remember that one fondly. It was a great story.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was Lestat, like, running around whining in it. He turned into such a whiner.
He did.
I think that's why, like, maybe I should have responded to her and said, I don't like the fact that, like, the cooler he gets, like, he starts whining more. It's like, dude, you're practically a god. What the fuck are you whining about? The only person who can fuck with you is, like, God and the devil himself. What the fuck are you whining about?
Yeah, I agree.
Chill out, man. Watch some movies, drink some blood. You don't even need to drink blood anymore. You can hang out in the sun. You can't move around, but you can hang out in it.
Yeah.
What are you whining about?
You're right.
Quit whining.
Maybe I agree. Maybe he shouldn't write any more of them.
Unless she makes him like a background character, and I wouldn't mind. I like her writing.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed her books. Maybe write about some other vampires, some newer vampire kids or something.
What about finishing things, like finishing the damn Mummy series?
Fucking A, I was about to say. You beat me to it.
Did she ever finish The Witches either? I mean, The Witches kind of left in a weird spot, didn't it? Didn't someone give birth to a weird half human witchy thing and they ran off together.
I gotta say, I kind of stopped reading
Yeah, I hardly remember
stuff around there. I don't know if they ever resolved that.
I
just know for a fact that she never resolved. Well, she never continued the Mummy.
No, it just
and
ended.
you know, it says like right at the end of the fucking first book, like
Only book.
the only book, right? Like this shit will continue.
Yep.
And it doesn't.
No.
Does it still say that? Like, I'm gonna have to go find like a recent printing of that book and see if it still says that.
I should have to have taken that out, unless she plans on writing it still. I wonder if any of those 8,000 comments were "Write the Mummy, asshole."
Oh, I see. Now I wish I had commented. I might have commented something along those lines. Have Lestat meet Ramses, and they can both sit around and whine about how awesome they are.
Ha. All right, so Dumb and Dumber is getting a sequel. Now we already had Dumb and Dumberer.
Right.
But that was like with a young. They were supposed to be them as young people, like a prequel.
Right.
This is an actual sequel. It's going to be called Dumb and Dumber 2, and the 2 is spelled T-O because it's dumb.
Right.
It'll be out September 26th this year. They're done with the script, and both Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels will be back. Farrelly brothers.
It's like, all right. It's like, this is one of the movies where I really enjoy the movie because it was funny.
Yeah.
But it was retarded. I mean, it wasn't like an Oscar worthy, Golden Globe worthy. It wasn't a good movie. It was funny. It was funny. This is the point. I mean, all right. Jeff Daniels probably needs the money, but this is the point where
Jeff Daniels is in that new Newsroom show on HBO that's so huge.
Probably doesn't need the money then.
No, probably not.
This is the point in Jim Carrey's life where he has to take a look at Tom Hanks, or take a look at like Rob Schneider and decide which one he wants to be. Do you want to move on? Do you want to be the next Tom Hanks? Because he did some of those cerebral movies.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go, Jim? Because this is it. This is it. You've told me. Dumb and Dumber 2, Rob Schneider. Thank you. You've made your choice. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
It'll probably be funny though.
It might be. I mean, who knows? J.K. Rowling says she's not opposed to a director's cut for a couple of the Harry Potter books.
Fuck, kill her.
Yeah, she said. She said that it was tough saying goodbye where Harry is concerned, and she's done. But if she had a fabulous idea that came out of that world, she would do it. She said that even though she'd like to go back, she's keeping the sanctity of the universe, and she won't reveal what book she'd like to go back to with rewrites, saying there's one early one and one late one that she wishes she had more time when she wrote them. So I don't know if that's the end of the world. I mean, that's like when Stephen King rewrote the Gunslinger book and changed some stuff.
Yeah,
But these were written 5 years ago, whereas the Gunslinger was written 30 years ago before the final book, right? So it was kind of an excuse there for the Gunslinger.
and you know what I can tell myself? I see. This is all right. Here's the geek thing I do, because I have the original Gunslinger.
Yeah.
And I have the new Gunslinger.
Right.
And I will read them both. Like, if I'm going to reread the Dark Tower series, I'm starting with the original Gunslinger.
Uh-huh.
And then after I read the Dark Tower, I'm going to read the fucking new one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
On a tangent here for a moment. We'll get back to J.K. Rowling. I just reread them, right? And I read the new version.
Right.
And when I read... There's parts where he talks about... There's parts where Rowling recollects... Susan's death, Susan being burned at the stake, and a handful of things that I don't know how much I would have enjoyed knowing ahead of time if it was my first time around. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of stuff he does that, right? In books, he'll say, that's the last time he saw her alive, things like that. He'll throw that in once in a while, and then we'll be like, wait, when she's gonna die then? And he does that, and that's fine. I get that. That's a literary trick or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But he definitely added stuff back in that for people that have read it before are like, wait, oh, now that's new. You know, I could catch it because I know he's talking about things that he wrote 30 years later,
right?
That he hadn't written when he wrote the original one. I don't know. I wonder if it takes away from it or not.
You know, I gotta say, I mean, I understand why he did it.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
If he
I don't know that it takes away from anything, but unnecessary.
I mean, if he would have just corrected the continuity errors, maybe, and the name, like the name Farson, you know, Farson was the name of a town rather than a person in the first book in the original, things like that, and you know, the things that he considered poor writing that he wanted to change around. Yeah, but
I don't think he even should have changed the poor writing.
No.
That's just what he wrote back then.
I get you.
You know,
I guess that's my point. I kind of feel that way. Like the things he put in, you know, the moment of dizziness that he put in the very beginning, which we know, having read the rest of the books, is him, you know, him coming back from his first the repeat. You know, the reach the top of the tower, moment of dizziness, and he appears in the desert again, and feeling that he's missing something. Yes, we get it. He's missing the horn.
Right.
Right. We know, but it takes away from me. I think maybe that's what I'm getting at. Is it ruins a couple things for me because I know what's going to happen. But does it really ruin anyone who's starting out with that one and never read the original?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because here's one thing that I felt he should have left out was 19.
Oh yeah, he did mention 19 in there.
He mentioned it a lot. There was a lot of 19 going on.
Yeah.
You know, the Man in Black did this whole 19 thing. And then, you know, I'm supposed to believe that like a few years later, when Eddie starts noticing the number of 19s and Roland's telling him he's an idiot.
Yeah. I just read that.
Dude, don't you have like a note in your pocket from like Martin saying like 19? Maybe it means something.
There's a lot, actually, you know, throughout the whole course of the series, there's a bunch of times where we know that, like, you know, Roland saw Susanna's wheelchair when in the first book, right? That was already there. He saw Oi impaled on a stake in the Gunslinger. Right. But no, wait, maybe that was added in.
I think that was added in.
Yeah. I mean, there was stuff that, like a Thunderclap, there was definitely a mention of Thunderclap in maybe when he talked to Flag.
Well, I know when he talks to Flag mentions, you know, the 3 that he must draw.
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't remember in the original there being a mention of Thunderclap, though.
I definitely noticed that he conveniently forgets things in his 1,000 years of questing that we see in the end of the story here. I mean, maybe not conveniently, but, you know, like Sheb, like we never... They finally mentioned the fact that Sheb was in Magus as well as in Tull. But he mentioned it in one of the newest books, right? He never mentioned it. He never said when he broke Sheb's wrists in the original version of the Gunslinger, Stephen King never said that he met him before.
Right.
In the new version of the Gunslinger, he recognizes who he is, and he mentions Susan to her, and Sheb runs away. You know.
Right.
So it's another one of those spots that I wonder if it affected the story for anyone.
That's why like I said, I like to think of the new version of the first book is book 8.
Yeah, okay.
This is like, you know, after he comes through, and now it's like, you know, now that he's got this whole repeat going on, like things are a little different, and maybe 19 is more relevant now.
Maybe.
And if you were to rewrite the other books, like, you know, they might be books like, you know, 9 through like 16. I don't know, but I mean, but that book aside, I don't think anyone should go back and rewrite one of their books. It's like a Lucas, you know, it's like a Lucas move. Don't rewrite the book. If you want to release an unabridged, unaltered, like, you know, like he did with The Stand, and making I don't have a problem with making small changes. You know, like you said, even in the Gunslinger, that whole Farson thing.
Yeah.
Or like what he does with The Stand, where he updates it so that, you know,
it's relevant to the period of time when that copy comes out.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. But I mean, if he were to go back and rewrite The Stand, saying, "Well, I wish I had more time to write it." No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't have more time to write it, and you're just gonna fuck it up.
You're right. So J.K. Rowling, leave the Harry Potter books alone, please.
Leave them alone. You want to write more? Fine.
Yeah, I'd be
if
okay
you
with
wrote
that.
stuff that didn't make it into the book, and you want to add it like in another edition later, all right, whatever. But it's like if Van Gogh came back today and just looked at all the shit and said, "Wow, man, that fucking sucked. I must have been on drugs," and started repainting, started going to all his paintings and fucking touching them up, what would happen? Shit. It would be all shit.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. No more
leave them
rewriting.
alone.
So we're starting to see a lot more Hobbit stuff come out. There's a couple posters out. I saw a poster. You see the poster with the dwarves?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They look good. I know that one of the challenges they had was trying to make them look different from each other, and they did a good job. It looks like it's pretty cool.
It is. It looks funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
They got
some of them
Bomber.
just look absolutely ridiculous.
They got Bomber with food sticking out of his mouth.
Yep. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great, but...
And it looks like they left one with just no makeup at all. See that guy in the top row there?
At the very top, yeah.
Yeah. All the rest definitely have some kind of makeup stuff going on. He just has messed up hair and a beard. His own beard.
And I'm looking...
Maybe he's the youngest one, and he's supposed to... So he looks more like normal.
I'm wondering if that's the guy from the original BBC Being Human, because it might be. He looks a little different there if it is, but we should be able to tag this or something with the acting. That's what they should do. Yeah. But yeah, I mean they look great though.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, the movie's gonna be fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it. Patrick Stewart. Sorry, go ahead.
Just a lot of walking.
Another movie full of walking. Patrick Stewart confirmed he will return as Professor X in the next X-Men movie. Probably going to be called X-Men Days of Future Past.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be based on Days of Future Past, which is like one of the more popular storylines.
Sounds like it is.
It's the one that Hero in the show Heroes. It's the one that he referenced.
Okay.
When he was traveling around through time. Even he likes it. Has anyone even thought about Heroes in the past couple of years?
No, that last season was terrible.
Yeah, it was. Sorry I mentioned it. Move on.
AMC has confirmed there'll be a 4th season of Walking Dead. 3rd season hasn't even started yet.
Starting soon, though.
Yep. October 14th.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks.
I'm gonna set my
Literally
DVR.
a couple weeks.
Make sure my new DVR is set.
Yeah.
Coen Brothers are setting up a Fargo TV series. It's going to be on FX. Been a long time since Fargo. Is it really appropriate time in the world when we need a Fargo TV series?
No.
It doesn't even say if any of the cast members... I mean, is Steve Buscemi going to be in it? Francis McDormand? I mean, these people are much older now.
Now, I was going to say, if Frances McDormand was going to be in it, then, all right, you want to do a Fargo TV series, whatever. But, if she's not in it, then don't do it. I mean, don't make it a Fargo TV series based on the movie. Make it a TV series about people in Fargo and just call it My Own Fucking Shit.
Well, maybe that is it. They didn't really say much here. It says loosely based on their 1996 classic Fargo.
Yeah, no, so it's going to be a fucking Fargo TV.
It is. Barnes & Noble released a couple new Nook tablets, in case your mom's still looking to get a new tablet.
I don't think she wants a Nook tablet, a new Nook tablet, though.
Yeah, I think moving to Kindle is probably smart if she's going to do something.
For what she wants to do.
So they made a couple of
reading her books. I mean, she'll probably still use her old Kindle.
Yeah.
Probably.
The new Kindle White has a light in it, though. That's kind of neat. I was tempted to buy one. The new regular Kindle, the one that's not a tablet, the e-ink one.
Right.
It has a white. It has a built-in light in the glass so that you can read in the dark.
See, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's only $115.
I mean, she wants to get more into starting to be able to listen to audiobooks on the go, things along of that nature.
Yeah.
So, I think she's going to really want to do something that's going to have more capability with a tablet.
Well, so these are very similar to the Amazon ones. The specs are a little better. Prices are about the same. There's going to be a 7-inch one, and they both HD screens, and a 9-inch one. Same as Kindle announced last week or whenever that was.
She's in the chat room talking about the Nook Color now.
Yeah.
And she says she needs an iPod.
What about the
she needs to
iPad?
be able to read at night. She needs an iPod, and she needs to be able to read at night.
So maybe the iPad Mini is the device for her when it comes out.
That's what I'm thinking.
Then she could read. She could read her old Nook books. She could read Kindle books. She can have an Audible account. She can sync between Audible and Kindle if she wants to have both the book and the audio book. Maybe that's what she needs to do if it comes out ever.
Yeah, if they don't apologize for it.
fucking maps.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
I used my maps today. It was perfect. Gave me perfect turn-by-turn directions. Went where I needed to go. I didn't have to type in the address, right? That's one of the big problems is Google has so much information on places that you could put in Mondo's house and it'll find you and plug your address automatically in.
Right.
But if Apple doesn't quite have that much coverage, right? They're using Yelp for theirs, so they get anything with reviews and stuff they'll have in their data set. But I was able to type in the name of the orchard and it found it for me without any problem.
Sure.
I realize that it's out of the country that a lot of people are having big problems with maps on iOS 6.
All of my friends who have who have iOS 6 and maps,
Yeah.
man, everybody seems to be pleased with it.
Yeah. Some of my directions work great.
I love Google Maps. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, I love Google Maps.
Well, I mean, have you experienced Google Maps on an iPhone or on your iPod Touch?
I've looked stuff up. I mean, I haven't used it for turn-by-turn directions.
Because there are no turn-by-turn directions. There are no turn-by-turn. I mean, they give you a list.
Right.
They give you a list of go right, go left, go right, and you have to follow along yourself. Other than that, you're right. You can do good searches, right? Because it's like searching Google. So that worked really
Google
well.
Maps is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm not saying that, Apple Maps, the Apple Maps app, say that 5 times fast, is, everyone seems happy with it.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, you read my blog post the other day.
I did.
I usually don't get that angry at anything Apple does. I could care. I love my iMac. I'm thinking maybe I might get the iPhone 5, like if I start working sometime soon, when I'm due for my upgrade. Maybe. I don't know. That made me so angry that Tim Cook apologized for the Maps app that I immediately took to the internet to bitch about it.
I mean, they have a history of apologies, right? They apologized for the antenna issues on the iPhone 4, and they apologized for the Mobile Me issues when Mobile Me first came out. I mean, there is a precedent here.
I don't know that they apologized for the antenna issues. I think Steve Jobs was he's like, well, you know what? We checked the shit out, and it fucking works perfectly. But if you still have a problem, I mean, we want you to be happy, so we're going to give you something to help you out.
Okay.
I don't think they actually apologized. He was just like, it's you. We're going to make it easier for you.
Hold it different.
Right. Hold it different. Here's a bumper. Just for you, because you seem to be the only person having trouble with it. He was awesome at that. He was like... What was his thing? His thing was like, he's going to only release, really awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And he's going to make people pay for it. And I really don't think, if there were these issues with the Maps app, I think he would have had the testing done a bit more. And if it wasn't closer to perfect, I really think he would have held off on it.
He might have. The problem is, I think the problem is, and John Gruber, who's an Apple apologist, kind of, he loves, he's like me, Apple can do nothing wrong most of the time. That's not really true, but whatever. He said the timing of it was what the problem was. Like, they had a year left in their contract with Google, so they could have left it for another year, but it was a year from WWDC, so. That's about 6 months before the new phones come out, right? 6 months before So the deal would have expired about 6 months before iPhone 6 could come out, right? So They would have either had to renew just for 6 months, or they would have had to renew. They'd have to come up with some way to extend it another 6 months. And I think what they decided was it made more sense to. I also think they also felt they needed user data to help improve things.
Sure.
So maybe if they would have, I think the problem with waiting would have been they would have had to push out Maps as like a half-year update rather than a primary feature. I mean, because Maps could have, you know, even if it expired, let's say it expired halfway before the iPhone 6 comes out, they could have just pushed it as an update, you know, or an incremental update rather than a full OS update. But I think they wanted it as a selling feature, and they want user data, not just user data where you can push the thing and say there's a mistake here, I want to report a problem, and you can do that. But they see where they go. They receive anonymous data from every GPS on every phone, and they can see if you're driving somewhere where there's not supposed to be a road and they're on a road, or if something changed, if a new road was built. I mean, they do absorb all that data and they improve the maps as it goes on. So I think they hate Google. I think that the timing. I think the timing was awkward to let it go another year, even though it probably could have used another year worth of work. And I think that by apologizing and hiring as many people as they can to improve things slowly, which already people are noticing corrections for some of those things that people have been complaining about, like, you know, some of the more noticeable things, like, for example, the Statue of Liberty is not there at all in the satellite view. Who cares? See, that's one of those things that I'm like, I don't care if the Statue of Liberty is there in satellite view. I care that the roads are right and that it gets me where I want to go.
Right.
But it's just one of those things, and so I'm going to ignore most of the news about Apple Maps and continue to use it. And the first time it screws me over, then maybe we could talk about it again. But until then, it's pretty good. It's doing more for me than Google Maps used to. If it doesn't find something by me typing in Mondo's house, I can Google Mondo's house, copy and paste the address into Maps. It's one step longer, right? Whereas the Google Map might have found it because it's tied into Google automatically, and Apple has less data set. You know, like if I want to find Fred's restaurant, you know, sometimes it'll show up. If it happens to be on Yelp, it shows up. If it doesn't happen to be on Yelp, then sometimes you got to find the address somewhere else. And that's what I do. I go to Google itself. I say, what's the address? And I get the address. I copy and paste it. So, you know, the Maps thing, I think it's kind of overblown.
Absolutely. I still don't think
you hate the apology thing. Yeah, I don't care either way. A lot of people wrote it was very respectful of him to apologize to the customers, you know, because people are saying that the reason they pushed it out was for business. They didn't want to do business with Google. They want the user data, so that's good business for them, but it's a poor user experience, and Apple is supposed to be the premier user experience, care more about the users than anybody else, and this seemed to go the other way. And to that I say Apple's a business. They're the biggest company, the most valuable company in the world, and they've got to run a business, so they're running a business. Whatever it is, it is.
They should have spun it differently.
Maybe.
But as they released it, maybe Tim Cook should have said that. Listen, shit like the Statue of Liberty is going to be missing. We want you to tell us. You tell us when there's a road missing.
Yeah.
And if he just said that, people would have been like, I'm going to help Apple.
They even changed the website a bit. You know, they changed, like, the maps. You go to the website and look up Apple Maps, and it used to say, like, the most amazing map experience ever created by any company. And they changed that to, you know, really great map experience or something a little more downplayed.
Right.
Let's talk about Fringe.
Yeah, let's talk about Fringe.
So we had our final season premiere for Fringe.
Yes.
It jumped us right into the future there. Continued almost directly after the episode that we saw at the end of last season, where we got to see the world where the observers have taken over.
Letters of Transit.
Right. A couple of observations. I liked it a lot. I realized that the budget this season is probably shoestring. You know, and I was a little concerned that it was going to not look as good. But the way they've been doing the city looks great. The Central Park thing, where they've kind of turned Central Park into a giant carbon dioxide processing plant.
Yep.
Looked cool. You know, the vistas are still good. I'm still pleased with the way it looks. I was a little worried that the money was going to be an issue. I like the fact that Walter was a really big part of this. This first episode was like all about Walter. I mean, first it was about finding Olivia, but this was Walter's, like, you know, Walter being you know, the hero of this episode, and it's not gonna and it obviously is not gonna be easy, right? It's not gonna be just some put together the puzzle out of his brain, set a plan in motion, fix the world, right? You know,
right.
They blew that up this episode, so I liked it a lot.
They did a lot this episode.
They did. There was a lot going on.
The best thing that happened in this episode was they found Olivia, though.
Yes.
Because I was really, for a couple of reasons. One reason is I was really concerned that they were going to drag out this "let's find Olivia" thing for weeks, and I didn't want that. I didn't want this whole dragging it out. I mean, I know she's got to be a big part of the show, so it's like, I was worried that maybe we were going to see her someplace else,
Right.
and they wouldn't get together until like halfway through the season, and that would have disappointed me.
Yeah, I'm glad they brought her right back.
Partly because I keep waiting for like Peter to like start making out with his daughter, and that's just creepy. I don't like. Maybe Josh Jackson's like actually attracted to the actress or whatever, but I mean, I kept getting the feeling that they're going to start making out, and I get creeped out by it. So as soon as like Olivia was back, I'm like, all right, stop looking at your daughter, look at Olivia, and quit creeping me out. Did you see that?
Yeah. I thought it was odd too. Definitely awkward, but
I was getting the. Oh, it was creepy.
I also like that creepy little bookstore owner guy had her body. He was using her as a table.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, it was. So then they captured Walter and they tortured him. We got to see like some really deep kind of Walter torture. And I liked the last scene where he's kind of trying to listen to music and trying to like center himself and it started. Some of this I got from this article, but it started with that flower, and in the beginning, Peter, the daughter, was blowing those those little wish things that we
the little puff balls from the dandelions.
Yeah, and then in the end, Walter sees a living dandelion in this world where everything is like dead and gone. There's almost no trees. It was good.
It was very good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 12 episodes.
This is going to be a fantastic season.
I think so. I mean, and did they kill off the good observer, their friendly observer?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I mean, I'm hoping that he's going to show up at some point.
He was like trapped in a piece of floor, right? And that's the last time we saw him, when he was trapped in the floor.
Was he trapped in the floor? That might have been the last time we saw him. He might have been trapped.
He was like in a warehouse, and he was trapped in this square. They had brought the whole square of floor with them when they took him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see Desmond again. Desmond's still trapped in the amber with William Bell.
Yeah, well, I think we will. I think we'll see William Bell too.
They have his hand.
Yeah, they do. And Walter couldn't remember that they had their hand too. That was creepy too. Why do we have a hand? Some of the Walter lines that this article from IO9 mentions some of his great lines this episode, and one of them was, "I'm aware I'm not wearing pants, Peter. I'm not an idiot," because Peter was like, "You're not wearing pants." He called Astrid Afro.
I noticed that. That made me laugh.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was good. And they're right that his brain must be a mess, right? It says here, he had bits of his brain cut out by William Bell, suffered brain damage from being ambered, which is partially reversed by having his missing brain bits reinserted, and now he's been psychologically destroyed by Widmark. So it's surprising that Walter could still walk.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're fucking with his brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Because in last season in Letters of Transit, after he got like his brain back, I mean, Walter was acting like kind of like a douche.
Yeah.
He was kind of like Dark Walter. He was like Walter before, he started feeling regret for his, his fuck ups and stuff. He was kind of like alternate. He was kind of like Walternate.
Right. Well, did we see?
It was interesting, but I mean, I like Walter better when he's not a douche.
I mean, and this is like the third Walter we've seen, right? Because this is the alternate timeline. Peter didn't exist, Walter, but Peter came back, right? So this was Walter was more of a shut-in at the beginning of last season than he ever was before. So like the beginning of last season, we got a new version of our Walter,
right?
And that's the one we have now. He's the one who's still they never went back anywhere there. There was no going back from that season. That was the cool stuff about last season. There's a couple of problems they had with the episode in this article here. They talk about the Peter Olivia's relationship crisis seemed pointless.
Yeah.
And they said that a couple of other silly things. They mentioned that the Amber Gypsies, they said, was just a silly storyline. Why are there people still in Amber just stuck around in buildings, laying around to be grabbed up? How did all
Yeah.
these people? How did all these people end up stuck in amber? Was there some kind of a mass-produced ambering device given out to people at some point?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely with the amber stuff, I can see where that. I mean, it might fit in somewhere later. I mean, what I was thinking with the because I agree with him about the whole Peter Olivia relationship issue.
Yeah.
But with the aside that I was thinking it might come up later. So I'm hoping that since they brought it up, I'm hoping that somehow it's going to be relevant later.
Okay.
I think possibly the only reason that they might have brought it up was just for a reason why they weren't together when they were trapped in amber. Maybe the producers felt they needed to explain that. I mean, I don't think they did. They were doing different shit.
Yeah.
Olivia was missing, whatever. So I'm hoping it's going to come up as a point later. I don't think Amber Gypsies and the Amber Ring is going to come up later. I think it was just a plot device they decided to use in Letters of Transit that they just, had to keep going somehow. Because in Letters of Transit, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But, now it does. It brings up the questions, like, like you said, like, are they just people just ambering people at random? It's like trick or treat. I'm going to fucking amber your house. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
Very exciting. Jen fell asleep. Yeah, Jen fell asleep. She hasn't seen the end yet.
You should tell her, spoil it for her, and just tell her that, like, Peter winds up making out with Etta. Because...
She fell asleep during Doctor Who, too. She missed the second half of Doctor Who also.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor sleepy Jen.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, I think we're done for tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
Next week, we're going to do the winter movie draft.
Winter movie draft.
Yeah. So that's exciting. We'll probably have Jen on for that. And I'll be 39 by the next episode as well.
You will be 39 by the next episode. It's almost October period.
It is.
And you weren't born on October period. You were born on October 7th.
I think that's Sunday, isn't it? Is October 7th a Sunday?
I think it might be.
I know we're going out Saturday night for my birthday. October 7th is the Sunday. Our next episode will be my birthday.
It's a birthday show. I'm going to have to get pound cake.
Birthday show. So, we're Not The Show. You can find all our stuff at nottheshow.com. Follow us on Twitter at Not The Show, Facebook.com/NotTheShow. I am Ojoey on Twitter, and Mondo is Dharma Bob. And we have a Stephen King podcast that we never record.
Yeah, when are we doing one of those?
We'll have to fit it in. I keep saying that, but there's even some news. I mean, we talked about Stephen King for a half hour today, almost.
We did.
So, we'll get to recording one of those. Mondo also has a music podcast that he does called Terminal Signal. It's at terminalsignal.net. Daily show. Music every day.
Every day.
Yeah. That's it. Have a good week.
Yeah, we out of here.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time on Not The Show. See ya.
Have a good one.
1, 2, 3. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so. And this I know for sure. What does she really want? And can stand to see me walking out that door. Don't try to fight the feeling, cause the thought alone is killing me right now. Thank God for mom and dad for sticking two together, cause we don't know how. Hey, I can't hear. I said, now what's cooler than being cool? Alright, 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 now ladies. Now we don't break this thing down in just a couple of seconds here. You know, we don't break it down like this too much, so you gotta dig it when we do. Yeah, I wanna see y'all on your baddest behavior, so lend me some sugar. I am your neighbor, come on. Shake it, 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 shake it like a Polaroid picture. Alright, shake it, 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 shake it like a Polaroid picture. Alright, shake it, 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 shake it like a Polaroid picture. Alright, shake it, 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 shake it like a Polaroid.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.